Hi everyone, how are you today? I'm Bertie. Let's learn Swedish learning theories, Swedish driving theory with me today. Town driving. How to join a street or a road. You always have a duty to give away when you join a road from a parking place, property, petrol station, a pathway, private driveway or similar exit, a cycle lane, verge or shoulder, pedestrian precinct, access road, or off-road terrain. A footpath or cycle lane that you have crossed. Buses at bus stop. You have to be very careful when passing a bus station. You never know whether there is someone at the front of the bus that may run onto the road. Reduce your speed and be alert. If the maximum speed is 50 kilometers per hour, you must give way if the bus uses the indicators to show the bus wants to move away from the bus stop. Basically, you have to give way to the bus. If there are several lanes, this only applies if you're driving in the right-hand lane. When you approach a junction, adjust your driving so that you are not forced to stop at a point when you're blocking cross traffic. It also applies when you approach a pedestrian crossings and cycle passages. Let's continue. There are some exceptions in certain cases. For example, the police, custom officials, rescue service, and Coast Guard personnel, doctors, nurses, midwives, veterinary surgeon, and others have the right to infringe traffic rules when necessary. Making way. We also have to make way to emergency vehicles that have blue lights and sirens. Making way means moving to one side and stopping to make it easier for the vehicles to get wherever they're going. Railway trains and trams must be allowed free passage. No obstructing or cutting through. If you meet a military column, a group of children under supervision, a funeral procession, or something similar, then you must not obstruct or cut through the procession. Roadworthy vehicles often have the rotating yellow lights. As a warning, you should reduce your speeds and show your consideration. Positioning at the road junction, it's like this. You should keep driving on the right side. Basically, that's how you have to position your car at the road junction. Driving through roundabouts. Drive at low speed. Follow any arrows and guidance lines. Check your blind spot when changing lanes. Use your indicators. Show what you intend to do. Give large and heavy vehicles plenty of room. Positioning. By positioning yourself correctly, then you avoid obstructing the traffic. When turning right, position your car to the right. When turning left, position your car near the middle of the carriageway. If there is a center line, drive as close to it as you can. This way, road users behind you have room to pass on your right. You also have an advantage by doing this because then you can see better and you can be seen better. This means less risk of an accident. One-way traffic. Positioning yourself on a street with one-way traffic is different from the normal in only one respect. When you want to turn left, position yourself furthest to the left prior to the turn. How about roundabouts? Let's see here. Roundabouts. If you want to go straight on or turn right, use the right-hand lane. If you want to turn left, use the left-hand lane. Basically, you need to know whether you want to turn right or turn left. On a roundabout with several lanes, you can normally also go straight from the left-hand lane. This may be a good idea if you intend to turn left at the next junction after the roundabout. Okay. If you want to go straight on or turn right, use the right-hand lane. But if you want to turn left, use the left-hand lane. When leaving a roundabout, you must use your right-hand indicators to indicate your intentions. You must be careful behind you and indicate before changing lines. You must watch out for any cyclist, drive slowly, and give way to cyclists and moped riders. Moped riders, and on cycle passages. Moped riders. Here the cyclist can choose whether to make a wide or tight turn. Because the right-hand lane is intended solely for traffic turning right, the cyclist must choose the tight left turn. Here's a picture here. Cycle passage combined with turn. When there's a turn and then you see a cyclist, then you have to drive slowly and give way to cyclists and moped riders. Leave enough sideway clearance when overtaking a cyclist. Riders of Class 1 mopeds have to use the carriageway even if there is a cycle lane. And here are some of the rules here. If you cross a cycle lane, you have a duty to give way to its users. If you cross a cycle passage when making a turn, you must drive slowly and give way to cyclists and moped riders. It also applies when you leave a roundabout. Generally, when you approach a cycle passage, you must adapt your speed in order not to create a hazard for those using the cycle passage. Cyclists have a duty to give way. On this point, the traffic rules differ from those that apply at a cycle crossing. A much heavier responsibility rests on cyclists on cycle passages. In places where a cycle lane ends and does not lead to a cycle passage, it is cyclists and moped riders on the cycle lane who have to give way to traffic on the carriageways. Cyclists and moped drivers Class 2 may turn left at a junction in two ways. Prior to the turn, they can keep next to the center line, or they can stay next to the right side edge of the carriageway. This carries a possibility of misunderstanding. Even if a cyclist is traveling on the right-hand side, you must bear in mind that he or she may be intending to turn left. At a junction with a lane solely for traffic running right, cyclists must not use that lane for proceeding straight ahead or turning left. However, this is permissible if a cyclist is entering or leaving a bus lane at the junction. Be aware when you see cyclists when driving. Driving on busier streets. When a driver who was driving at 30 kilometers per hour has stopped, a driver traveling at 50 kilometers per hour has yet to start braking. Built-up areas. These are places where traffic is often denser and speed limits lower than on national highways. If there is a speed limit or other prohibition sign, this applies to the entire area unless otherwise stated. Here is a built-up area sign. Here you can see it. Oh, it's not clear. 30 kilometers per hour. Speed is the greatest single factor in the injury severity in accidents. Most pedestrians survive if they're hit by cars traveling at 30 kilometers per hour. Most die if hit by a vehicle traveling by 50 kilometers per hour. Low speed street. It is inappropriate to drive faster than 30 kilometers per hour. Access road. Instead of prohibiting motor traffic totally, sometimes it's convenient to allow traffic on pedestrian terms, but there are some rules here. You may only drive at a walking speed. You must give way to pedestrians. You can only park at specially assigned parking places. You must give way when leaving an access road. Pedestrian pressing. In pedestrian pressing, motor-powered vehicles are restricted. In addition to cyclists, there are other permitted traffics though, including, okay, let's put it this way. Motor-powered vehicles are restricted in pedestrian precinct, but there are some vehicles that are allowed, for example, cyclists, goods and deliveries, transport of patients, and transport to and from private dwellings and hotels in the precinct. Traffic is also allowed to cross over a pedestrian precinct. Those vehicles allowed to enter must follow the same rules as those for an access road.